Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers and their offseason plan to fix this team from 6-11 to become a Super Bowl winner. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell, notified when I post next. Let's get into the video. San Francisco 49ers, no coaching moves besides getting Robert Saleh back as defensive coordinator. Congratulations, that's awesome for them. But San Francisco 49ers, injuries really derailed them this year. It wasn't really like play-wise. It was more of once injuries happened, they stacked, and they couldn't overcome them eventually. So, San Francisco 49ers, let's get into it. Starting out, cuts/trades. You're already positive $46.5 million, which I don't know how you're doing it, but somehow you're positive 46.5. So, there's going to be some tough decisions that you're going to have to be making, knowing you have to pay Brock Purdy, knowing there's guys in this team that are coming up for extension soon, and guys that are, aging out of their prime. So you have, kind of way of, do we want to get these guys long term, and do we want to know we have to pay these guys coming up here soon? So cuts, trades, let's do it. The first trade, it's already said that Deebo Samuel has asked for a trade, and they're going to let him get a trade out of San Francisco. Last year had 51 receptions, 670 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He had a steep decline this year. You can definitely tell he's not the same gadget guy from 2020 to 2022 anymore. He's just slowed down. His field vision's gotten worse. He just isn't the same dude, right? He just isn't. He does play in the best West Coast offense in the league, though. And since the West Coast offense is the most used base scheme in the NFL, there's going to be value for him elsewhere. So I decided to trade him to Green Bay, who is seeking an experienced outside receiver. Green Bay gets Deebo Samuel, and all I have to give up is number 160, a fifth round pick. Number 160 overall. You trade him, you save $5 million against the cap. You get a fifth round pick. You say, Deebo, thank you for your time in San Francisco. You helped us go to a Super Bowl. 2 Super Bowls, actually. You have to get the 2 Super Bowls. And unfortunately, we just never got to be able to get done. Thank you. Good day. That's what you're doing with Deebo Samuel. He wants a trade. You want to trade him to a team that's going to contend for a Super Bowl. They're trying to contend for a Super Bowl in Green Bay. And again, he goes into a very young room. He's very obviously the number 1 guy in that room. He's the veteran in that room. And I think that's something that he can definitely look forward to in Green Bay. Next, we have Leonard Floyd. I'm going to be cutting Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd last year had 23 tackles, 11 sacks, one forced fumble, 25 run stops, and 44 pressures. He's still a good pass rusher. It definitely isn't because of his skill level I'm cutting him. Age does seem to have to not have hit him yet. Whether it was with Buffalo last year, then San Francisco this year, he's still really good. He's still showing that he's a good pass rusher. I think there is going to be a window for him to sign elsewhere. He saved $9 million releasing him. And I do see this iteration of the San Francisco 49ers, their window closing rapidly. And I just don't think Leonard Floyd is going to be a part of that Super Bowl window anymore. So you could keep him. I would rather draft someone or sign another free agent with that $8 million that is even better than Leonard Floyd. But again, you could keep him, keep the $8 million in-house, but I would rather cut him, go use that money elsewhere, and draft someone who could give you around similar impact for 4 more years. That's dirt cheap. Restructuring only Fred Warner, opening up $12 million in cap space, meaning I have $80 million in cap space to do some re-signings. Let's get into the re-signings. First off, it's going to be Talanoa Hufanga, their starting strong safety. Talanoa had 28 tackles, 0 interceptions, and 8 run stops this past year. He did only play 7 games, so those stats obviously are very skewed because he only played 7 games this year, and the games he did come back from, this wasn't the same player because of his injury. Coming off back-to-back Pro Bowl years, so 2-time Pro Bowl guy you drafted and developed. He's shown when healthy he's a good safety. I do think he's slightly overrated in coverage, but when it comes to run defense, he is a very good run defender. So I decided to give him a 2-year, $16 million deal, $11 million guaranteed. That is 68%. They re-sign him and say, hey, let's flush that year of you being injured down the toilet. Let's run this back and try and win a Super Bowl with this roster. Reconstructed, obviously. But I think Talanoa Hufanga is an integral part of that secondary. Next, we have Jordan Mason. I'm going to be re-signing as well. Jordan Mason is here at 153 carries, 789 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He proved to be a great CMC backup. While he's not exactly the same runner as CMC, because, Jordan Mason is definitely more power than elusive, and CMC is definitely more elusive than power. I would use an original round free agent tag on him, but because it was a UDFA, don't really know how that works, so we're going to do a second round tender on him. Great downhill runner, good field vision. I do see it unlikely that a team would trade a second round pick and then sign Jordan Mason doing a second round tender. So this basically guarantees Jordan Mason is on the roster for $5 million next year to be CMC insurance. And if CMC can't go, Jordan Mason can run this offense very effectively. Next, we have Brock Purdy. Now, he isn't a free agent. This is just an extension. One of the only ones I'm going to do in this entire series. But this conversation keeps coming up, so I want to hammer it down. Brock Purdy, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He's been a very good quarterback since being drafted last overall, Mr. Irrelevant. In my opinion, you gotta lock him up long-term now after his worst season in the NFL. He showed he needs talent around him, so he's not gonna be as expensive as you once thought. Because, with no Deebo Samuel, with no George Kittle really, with no CMC, no Brandon Ayuk because he tore his ACL, a splintering offensive line, he showed he can't make it work. He's not a number one quarterback in the league guy. He's a good dude, good player. This isn't that top 5 quarterback level. In my opinion, I think a Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa contract is where in the realm of what I'm going to be doing. So I gave him a 4-year, $211 million deal, $132 million guaranteed at 63% guaranteed. So it's top 10 in quarterback money, but I just don't see him as a top 10 quarterback right now. But I did add a void year to spread that, $75 million signing bonus out a little bit. So 45 million, 47, 50, 54. That's pretty good for what Brock Purdy can give you. It allows you to not make him the highest paid quarterback ever, but also have him at a number that you feel comfortable that he would sign that you have him on roster for. Then going into the free agency, we're at $68 million, so we are going to be spending some money trying to get this roster back into Super Bowl contention. Stephon Diggs is the first sign I'm going to be doing to replace that Deebo Samuel and just add another wide receiver threat. 47 receptions, 496 yards, and 3 touchdowns this season. He is coming off a season-ending injury. He tore his ACL, so maybe even the number I signed him for could be even less because of that. You could get him for cheap as a ring chaser, and again, a wide receiver just come off a torn ACL, and is trying to win a Super Bowl. You can get him for dirt cheap. Go all in one last time with these aged veterans that you have on this roster and aged veterans that you're going to bring in. You can still put up about 1,000 yards. I don't think he's the same wide receiver he once was, especially after that ACL injury. But I think he can easily put up 900, 950 yards, 7 or 8 touchdowns for you next year. Brandon Ayuk and Stephon Diggs recovering could be a little too risky for this front office and this coaching staff. Both Brandon Ayuk and Stephon Diggs both tearing their ACLs, both of them coming back next year. Could be a little too risky, but I'm willing to bet on it because I know Stephon Diggs is a Pro Bowl level wide receiver, and I'm willing to take that chance. So 1 year, $6.5 million fully guaranteed. They get him in-house, get him ready to go, and you run from there. Next, we have Tristan Colin, the offensive guard from Arizona. Last year had a 71 PFF grade, 66 pass blocking, 69 run blocking. He is a solid starting center. But in my opinion, I'm moving him out to guard. You have Jake Brendel, who's currently on roster. I did not cut him. He is still your starting center. He was average. He was an average center. So maybe Jake Brendel goes to guard or Colin goes to guard. But I do think Tristan Colin boosts your interior offensive line. Also, knowing that I didn't re-sign Aaron Banks, who is going to be leaving in free agency, Tristan Colin is a very cheap option to replace him. He starts day one. You can get it for cheap, and you steal him from a division rival. That's something that you love to do. A 2-year, $7 million deal, $4 million guaranteed. That is 58% guaranteed to bring in a guy that can start for you day one. Next, we have DJ Humphries. Yes, that DJ Humphries. Last season had a 45 PFF grade, 31 pass blocking, 66 run blocking. He's been a backup tackle for KC this year. Obviously, he didn't really play in the Super Bowl. He was a third swing tackle. He has experience at both left tackle and right tackle. Either you bring him in to start over Connor McKivitz, or DJ Humphries rides the bench so you can bring him in on jumbo sets for run blocking. Kind of like what Buffalo did with Alec Anderson. They led the league in 6 offensive lineman sets. DJ Humphries can be that for you for this run game. If injuries happen, you then have a strong vet in the room as well with DJ Humphries. Lots and lots of experience in the NFL. So if Trent Williams goes down or Connor McKivitz comes down, DJ Humphries can step up and start for you immediately. 1 year, $4 million, fully guaranteed. Next, we have Israel Mukuamu, one of my favorite safeties in the NFL. 13 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 run stops, and only 200 snaps. I think he played pretty well this year. With more playing time, I think you could easily improve. That's the gamble you give him. Is it if we give you more snaps, you're going to get worse because you look really good in limited snaps, or is it you're going to get even better and we're going to have a steal of a contract? Travarius Ward is 100% leaving at corner, so I think Israel Mukuamu can either come in and start for you at corner, which he did play some corner in Dallas, or he comes in and pairing with Talanoa Hufanga. But no matter what, you boost your secondary. You take a chance at a solid boundary corner. Again, I think he could play a boundary corner, but if not, you can move him in at safety and have a really good safety pairing. He has experience of safety as well, as I said. 1 year, 3.5 million, only 1.5 million guaranteed. So if he doesn't really play well, you can cut him midway through the season and save a good amount of money. Next, we have Isaiah Rodgers to be that true corner replacement for Javarius Ward. Isaiah Rodgers this year, 19 tackles, 0 interceptions, and 10 run stops. More veteran help at cornerback. Again, I think you're going to lose Javarius Ward, absolutely. And outside of that, you really only have Diamondor Lenore. So Isaiah Rodgers can come in, start for you day one. He was a starter in Indianapolis before his gambling suspension. Now he's a role player in Philadelphia. Just won a Super Bowl. And I did see his number 34 on the field during the Super Bowl. So now you can say he did play in a Super Bowl experience. Was once one of the best slot cornerbacks in the league. And then again, once that gambling suspension hit, he kind of fell off the wagon. But bring him into San Francisco for a dirt cheap contract for what he's going to give you. 2 year, 9.5 million, 6.5 million guaranteed, about 69% guaranteed. I would love this for Isaiah Rodgers. Go to San Francisco. They're in need of your services. You can start day one and get your career back on track. Next, we have EJ Speed. EJ Speed had 103 tackles, 0 sacks, and forced fumbles, and 51 run stops. Indianapolis always develops good run-stopping linebackers and lets them go. So I don't think EJ Speed will be returning to Indianapolis Colts. I think it'll be Zaire Franklin and another dude that takes his spot. He can come in with Fred Warner. I do think the 49ers will try and retain Dre Greenlaw, but I think they're going to get outpriced. So I think EJ Speed is a more affordable option than Dre Greenlaw. Fred's the best coverage linebacker. EJ can be the run stopper next to him. 2 year, $16.5 million deal, $11.5 million guaranteed. That is 70% guaranteed. I think that's worth it for what you're trying to do. Then finally, one last signing. I'm grabbing Khalil Mack. So yes, I said when I cut Leonard Floyd, I want to go younger, I want to go cheaper, but Khalil Mack is superior to Leonard Floyd. Khalil Mack, 24 tackles, 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 23 run stops. One last hurrah and one last ring chase. Get out of the AFC. Get to the NFC and try and win a Super Bowl, Khalil Mack, please. He's much better right now than Leonard Floyd. You still have lots of money in 2025 to offer a large 1-year contract before you sign Khalil Mack. So I said, you know what? Let's go out and get our one impact pass rusher that we know is going to be a star. Then you can come in, and he's going to have the best pass rusher he's ever had opposite of him. Brother of his current teammate, Joey Bosa, in Nick Bosa. The best pass rusher he's ever had next to him. 1 year, $10 million fully guaranteed. Lock it. I think he's going to San Francisco. You have $29 million in cap space still. So you can go out. You can either, maybe you go and sign another offensive lineman, another tier 1 offensive lineman. Maybe you go sign Dre Greenlaw back and EJ Speed. Maybe you go and I'll get one of the best corners in the market. Still so much money to do because in this draft, you only have, I think, 9 or 10 picks. So that's about $9 to $11 million you want to keep in free agency. You want to keep in cap space for the draft. So you have about $18 to $20 million to go out and get more guys. And the 49ers are always spending money and always, maxing out the cap. So I think there's absolutely more guys for you to go and get. But this is the core guys that I'll go after day one. But for the draft, here's what I did. As you can see, lots and lots of guys that are going to be name recognition, right? So at number 11, grabbing Josh Simmons from Ohio State. Honestly, probably would go higher if he stayed healthy all year. Was off to a good start before getting injured. He's 6'5", 310. In my opinion, Josh Simmons can either start at right tackle over Connor McKivitz, or he starts at guard day one. He's 6'5", 310. He has experience at both right tackle and left tackle. I would love to see a Josh Simmons guard play, and then after Trent Williams retires, you move him back out the tackle. Kind of like what the Cowboys did with their left tackle and Trey Smith, I think his name is. No, I don't think it's Trey Smith. Whatever their left tackle's name is, they started him at left guard his rookie year, and then once Tyron Smith left, they kicked him back out the left tackle that he was drafted to play. I think Josh Simmons could easily be drafted as a tackle, play at guard year one, and then replace Trent Williams whenever he retires. Then at number 43, grabbing Deion Walker. Deion, I think this is a Javon Hargrove replacement. It's rumored that the first day of the league year, they're going to cut him. So Deion Walker comes in, starts year one. Malik Collins is the other D tackle. I think Deion Walker is immediately better than Malik Collins as well. Deion could walk in, start day one. This D-line has proven to develop really well. And I think that, we saw when Robert Saleh went to New York, he immediately bolstered the defensive line. So I think Deion Walker will be the juice that they need at the defensive tackle position. He can, to develop. He has really good tools, a really good pass rusher. I think he has a really good upside as a run stopper as well, but he's a very good pass rusher in college. So he's gonna, those kind of traits translate to the NFL. Then at number 75, grabbing Trey Harris from Ole Miss. You guys know I love my Ole Miss team this year. Trey Harris, 6'3", 210 outside wide receiver. This is a very good pickup in my opinion. He's a very good yards after the catch receiver. He averaged 8 yards yak in college football last year. He can replace Debo day one. Very big catch radius. Very good athlete. I don't think he is quite the gadget guy Debo Samuel was, but I think he has really good hands, really good frame, and again, very good yak receiver. Amazing field vision, so maybe he could turn into a gadget guy, but I think Trey Harris just as an outside boundary wide receiver is something you're going to see in the NFL. Then at number 99, you guys know him. I love him. Antoine Power Ryland from Virginia Tech. Antoine is one of my sleepers at edge this year. He has had 25 sacks and 50 pressures the last 2 years. He's an amazing pure pass rusher with all the athletic ability and tools to develop into a really good run defender. He has a very compact frame, uses it effectively. I think there is a real chance Antoine Power Ryland ends up as one of the better pass rushers out of this class. It may take a year or two to turn into that, but he has all the tools, the body to build more mass on, and already the skill with the weight that he has to be very effective. Then number 111, grabbing Mitchell Evans, the tight end from Notre Dame. This is a great Kittle tandem in my opinion. Didn't boom as I thought he would this year with Riley Leonard. He kind of stayed stagnant from last year, and I really thought he'd take a next step this year, but he just didn't. He's 6'5", 260, solid blocker, and when he does block, he is very, very throw my body around. I love at tight end. He's great downhill, and when he's catching the ball, as soon as he gets to the ball, he drops, right? A lot of people are saying Isaiah Likely is a solid comp for him, really good blocker. I don't think Mitchell Evans is quite the blocker he is, but they have the exact same catch ideology of once I catch it, I hit the ground. But Isaiah Likely has developed more into run it as far as you can upfield. When he first came out, Isaiah Likely was a catch, hit the ground, catch, hit the ground. I think Mitchell Evans can easily develop into a better blocker and more downfield threats. Then at 137, grabbing Denzel Burke from Ohio State. Again, national championship winner. Another great role-playing cornerback. 21 coverage stops in college last year. That's not great because that means he got targeted a lot, and he did get targeted a lot. He let up 2 touchdowns, but also had 2 interceptions. He's 6'1", so not a really small frame. Average frame for an NFL corner. A willing run defender too. When it comes to the playoffs, he was fine. He wasn't, electric. There's a reason he's not higher on my board. But Denzel Burke at number 137, that's still a good value pick. Then at 138, grabbing Trevor Etienne from Georgia. Etienne is an amazing CMC backup. I've said the entire draft process, he is Alvin Kamara light. Like, this is a dude who is a tier 2 of Alvin Kamara. Great route runner, great speed in open field. He does struggle with breaking tackles overall, but he is effective when it's downfield. But I really think Trevor Etienne's going to be really good in the NFL. And I've been saying this entire draft process, guys like him turn into really good starters. And I think Trevor Etienne has a chance to turn into a really good starter eventually. Then at number 149, Danny Stutzman, really good run defending linebacker. Again, I still think Dre Greenlaw leads in free agency. So whether you sign EJ Speed and you draft Stutzman, that kind of makes up for Dre Greenlaw's effect in the run game, alleviates some of the great run defending that you're going to be losing. Then at number 160, Jake Majors from Texas, the center. This is an investment into the interior offensive line. Again, that's the struggle of this offensive line. You have Trent Williams and Connor McKivitz who are holding it out at tackle, but the interior has struggled mightily. So this is an investment. Not a starter day one, and maybe not even be a starter year 2, but I do see as a solid backup immediately that could potentially grow into a starter eventually. Then number 187, grabbing Darius Alexander from Toledo. He's not going to be there. He has a great D-tackle prospect. If he's there, you run to the draft table and you draft him. An amazing pure pass rusher, and his energy and athletic ability at his size is going to make him a really good run defender in the NFL. I would be scared if Robert Saleh got his hands on Darius Alexander. That kind of stuff can't be taught. It's homegrown. Then, again, another guy that won't be there in the 7th round, but I'm going to grab him in this kind of mock draft. Jackson Dart at 256. Great developmental guy, great backup. Even if Brock Purdy, you sign him and he just never really works out again, I think Jackson Dart is the exact type of mold that Brock Purdy was. Massive arm, really good deep field ability. I do think Jackson Dart has a better arm than Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy is a better deliverer of the football. But yeah, that's my mock offseason plan to fix the 49ers. You move on from older aged veterans that aren't really giving you what you need. You bring on a bunch of guys for 1 or 2 years to really make that final push for a Super Bowl. You extend Brock Purdy, and you go into the draft building for the future. So if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified of when I post next. Go in the description down below. Follow me on everything. Has my TikTok attached. I post pretty consistently. So if you guys did enjoy, please, please, please follow me everywhere. And let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.